Good morning, this is Randy. There's a lot of chaos in the world and a lot of craziness going on out in the world. Often it doesn't really affect us personally, but it does once we start watching and listening. And we have to make choices every day, constantly, about what we want to, where we want to put our attention and what cause we want to support and which causes we would want to rebel against or fight against, or whether it's easier to just ignore the media and not know things that are going on in the world. These are all choices that we have to make every day. So there's all these paradoxes going on. There's these opposing polarities. It seems like things are about to bust open because everybody seems to be forced to take a side, or most people, on a lot of different issues. In a way, it's a way to define ourselves, to decide who we really are. That's only on the surface. Who we are is not what issues and things that we support, but the things that we support and the things that we are against do define us to other people, fortunately or not unfortunately. That's the thing. There's a plus side and a minus side to almost everything. And these choices that we make every single day, they can only be based on our own knowledge or lack thereof. We only know what we know, and yet we're still forced to make a choice. And then if we learn something different, we can make a different choice. But at any given point in time, we only know what we know then, and we can't beat ourselves up for not knowing, but we should be open to learning and understanding and increasing our insight of ourselves and our insight of others and our understanding of science and technology. It's basically just to actually be able to navigate. We need a certain amount of understanding in order to make some decent choices just for our own protection and safety nowadays. No one's really going to help you through it. We're on our own. Even if you're married to a spouse, they may disagree. They may not really have your back. Or they may have your back in certain things, and other things they don't. No two people are alike. We're basically all on our own, and it's scary and sad, but to some people it's cool. It feels freeing. It feels like liberation. When we look at what other people, when we see what other people are doing and what they're standing for, and we make judgments about them, often we don't know what their intention is unless they have been given a chance to explain their intentions behind their choices. A lot of people don't even know what their intentions behind their choices are because they don't make informed choices. They make uninformed choices or impulsive choices. And the choices might be on small random things like what to eat for breakfast, or it might be on a bigger issue like maybe what candidate to support in the 2016 election. Or maybe you think it's more important to decide what you eat for breakfast than it is important to decide who you're going to vote for, or if you're going to even vote in the 2016 election. See, the choices are endless, and the way we set our priorities are also endless in terms of how much weight we give certain issues in our life and all the choices that we're faced with every day. For example, in politics, okay, Hillary and Trump are running against each other, and Sanders was also in there, and some say that he's still going to be able to pop back in through the Green Party. But no matter what, if you're voting for Hillary, what's your intention? This is something that you should analyze. So, voting for Hillary just because she's a woman, I would say that's not a good enough reason. Voting for Hillary just because she's not Trump is probably not a good enough reason. Voting for Trump just because he doesn't use a teleprompter and he says what's on his mind, and often it's not politically correct, is probably not a good enough reason to vote for him. Voting for Trump just because he's not a woman is not a really good reason to vote for him. It's all about intention. So until I know what people's intentions are, I can't really make a judgment about what I think regarding their choices. In these politics today, I can't even make it my own choice. I have no choice. I don't like to think that I'm a person who would not vote at all, because I've never done that before, not voted in a primary election. In the general election. But it might come down to it for me, because I cannot make a choice. I don't like either of the choices. People make choices about whether to get married, whether to stay married, whether to be single, and it would be very interesting and valuable to know what their intentions are for each one of those moves, those big moves, like why get married, what is your intention? Do we ever even talk about that with our partner before we marry him or her? Is that a conversation we have about what is both of our intentions for this marriage? Sadly, I don't think those kind of conversations happen enough. What is our intentions for getting a divorce? Do we talk about our intentions, what we hope to achieve by separating or by getting a divorce? And of course, we know we can't talk about these things with a narcissist, because you can't have any kind of decent discussion, but I'm talking about normal people who can here. What about monogamy? Monogamy is a choice, but what's the intention behind it? Is it really your choice, or is it just something that you're agreeing to do and you don't really intend to do it forever? Or is that just something that you say you will want to do now, but you might change your mind? Or is it something that you're firm in because you have a certain kind of a moral value and a moral compass that you wouldn't veer from that no matter what? What is your intention for remaining monogamous or saying that you're monogamous in a relationship? Is it just because that's what the other person wants to hear, but it's really not your true intention? When people lie about their intentions or lie to themselves about their own intentions, they play games with themselves and they play games with everybody else around them. the first order of business is to figure out one's own intentions. And if someone asks you, or you think they need to know what your intentions for a certain choice is, then figure it out, what your own intention is, and then figure out how to explain it in a clear manner so that other people can see exactly where you're coming from, because what you choose has a ripple effect, and it makes a difference to other people and what they might want to choose. If you're polygamous and want to have an open relationship, why? What is your intention behind that? These are things that need to be thought out well. They're not just random kinds of decisions that you should get into without knowing your own intentions and the real reasons behind your choice before you make them. How about the dichotomy of those people who want to, the NRA, the right to bear arms, versus gun control? So what are the people who want to keep the guns? What is their intention for it? They could have some really, really good reasons, I'm sure. And if a certain individual had a great reason, and I'm sure they could convince me that that was a great idea for them to do. If a person who wants the government to control guns has a lot of good points and good reasons for them wanting and taking that side, I'm sure that I could agree with that side as well. It's not really about sides, it's about what's the intention of the individual behind taking a side. And the problem is that there's tons of individuals that take sides, but they're for different intentions. For example, there's people that are rallying behind Trump, and there's people that are going to vote for Trump that are not rallying behind him and that are silent about their support for him. But all the people that are rallying behind Trump are not doing it for the same reasons, and so it's misleading to judge individuals on the fact that they might be voting for Trump. Remember, they're also only doing it based on their own current knowledge base. They may have some missing information, as most of us do. We don't all know everything. So we're missing information that could help us make better decisions in almost every single area of our life, if not every single area of our life. I could make terrible decisions based on home improvements because I lack knowledge in that area, and I actually need help from somebody who I could trust in that area. I don't pretend to know everything, but yet I still have a need to try to trust someone to do for me to pay to do a home improvement. And basically I'm flying by the seat of my pants when I do so, because I know nothing about, I am not well informed, and I'm really not interested in trying to get a bunch of knowledge about home improvements and house repair and roofs and porches and heating and cooling. I'm not interested enough to do that. So somebody who has that knowledge, who I could really trust, would be really valuable to me. Having babies or being child-free, that is a decision that a woman makes, and hopefully she makes that decision in an informed enough position as she possibly can. What the consequences are of having a child or children, what the consequences are of remaining child-free. I have many other things on the list, but I'm running out of time here for this video. I didn't think it would be this long. I may go ahead and continue with a part 2, but I think you get the gist of what I'm saying. I have a couple more issues that I wanted to point out that are opposing issues, but when you find out what the person's intention is, you could be swayed to agree with that position, and even to opposing positions. Thank you for listening today.